Today, we're digging into a really powerful idea from the thinker Edward de Bono, and it's all about upgrading what is, our most fundamental tool, our own thinking. He makes this case that the way most of us operate is, well, it's failing us. Not because we're bad at it, but because the system itself is just obsolete.
So let me just start with this question. What if the very software we're running in our heads to navigate the world, our logic, our way of debating, how we solve problems, what if it's fundamentally broken for the modern age? It's a pretty radical thought, right? It suggests the problem isn't our skill, it's the tool itself.
Okay, so de Bono uses this great analogy to explain it. Imagine you're out fishing all day, but you're not catching a thing. Your first instinct is probably to blame yourself, right? Your technique, your patience, maybe you're just not a good fisherman. But what if the problem is simpler? What if you just brought the wrong equipment? De Bono says that's exactly what's happened to our thinking. We're using the wrong tackle.
So what exactly is this outdated equipment? Well, it's our default mode of thinking, especially in the Western world. Argument. You know that adversarial point-counterpoint system that we see absolutely everywhere, from courtrooms to boardrooms to the dinner table?
And the roots of this system, they run deep, I mean really deep. De Bono calls its architects the Greek Gang of Three, Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle. Now look, these guys were geniuses, no question, but they designed a system for their world, a world they saw as pretty stable, where the whole point was to find one single absolute truth. And here's the huge disconnect. Our world is anything but stable. We live in a world of constant, rapid change, and a system built to find one static truth, well, it just can't keep up.
And this quote, wow, it gets right to the heart of the paradox. De Bono does not pull any punches here, calling the argument method a curse. And why? Because it's a system that's designed for conflict. It's a system where proving the other side wrong becomes way more important than actually exploring the subject. The ego gets involved, and it all becomes about winning.
And you can really see the difference here. On one side, you've got traditional thinking. The goal is argument and judgment. It uses what de Bono calls rock logic. It's rigid, it's fixed, it's all about what is. And the process is an adversarial clash where one truth wins. But parallel thinking is totally different. The goal is exploration and design. It uses water logic. It's fluid, it's creative. It asks, what does this lead to? The process is cooperative, and the outcome isn't one winner, it's a map of all the possibilities.
This over-reliance on argument, it turns us into what de Bono calls gardeners who only weed. We become obsessed with criticism, with pointing out flaws and errors. But, as any real gardener will tell you, weeding alone doesn't grow flowers. Not even close. You also have to plant seeds, and you have to nurture them. Criticism isn't the whole picture.
So let's pivot to the alternative. Let's see how we can build something a lot more constructive. What if, instead of this head-on clash, we could just think alongside each other? What if we could explore a topic from every single angle, cooperatively?
And this, right here, is the core of parallel thinking. It's a method where every viewpoint, the good, the bad, the emotional, the creative, is laid down side by side. There's no fight, there's no argument at the beginning. The goal is just to build a complete map of the intellectual territory before you even think about deciding on a path.
But how do you actually do that? How does it work in the real world? Well, de Bono created this incredibly simple yet powerful framework to put parallel thinking into action. He called it the 6 thinking hats.
So here's how it works. You have these 6 metaphorical hats, and each one is a different mode of thinking. So when everyone puts on the white hat, we only deal with the facts, just the data, pure and simple. Then we might switch to the red hat. This is for feelings, hunches, gut intuition, and you don't have to justify it. Then there's the black hat. This is our time for caution, to look at risks and what could go wrong. It's that critical voice, but used constructively. The opposite is the yellow hat. All benefits, all positives. Then you've got the green hat. This is pure creativity, new ideas, brainstorming. And finally, the blue hat is kind of the manager, organizing the whole process. The real power here is that everyone wears the same hat at the same time. We are all literally thinking in the same direction, together.
Now, the results of shifting from argument to this kind of structured exploration, they're pretty profound. This isn't just some abstract theoretical idea. It has massive, tangible benefits.
Just look at these benefits. The biggest one for me, it completely removes the ego from the equation. When you're asked to put on the yellow hat and find the benefits in an idea you personally hate, your challenge is to be a good yellow hat thinker, not to defend your own position. It's a game changer. It channels the full intellectual power of everyone in the room in every single direction, one at a time. This makes discussions incredibly efficient and way more creative.
And that brings us to the punchline. Just how efficient. Get this. In one study, a lab at IBM reported a 75% reduction in meeting times after they started using the 6 hats method. 75%. That is the difference between a 1-hour meeting and a 4-hour argument.
Which brings us to this fundamental takeaway. Real progress doesn't come from proving people wrong. It comes from exploring what's possible. It's the hypothesis in science, the vision in business, that creative spark that actually moves us forward. Argument is all about what is, but all progress is about what could be.
And that leaves us with one last question to think about. For 2,500 years, we've honed our skills at intellectual combat. We have perfected argument. So just imagine. Imagine what we could create, what problems we could solve, what kind of future we could design if we spent the next chapter perfecting exploration instead.